I want to ask you about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we need to get married? People need to get married.
Especially men.
Yeah.
Especially men. They need marriage so much. What happens is men seem to think, especially in this day and age, because of the toxic culture of relationships, they're like, we've got all the time in the world. We don't have a biological clock, but you have a financial clock. And when you're single, you waste so much of your time, money, and energy. I promise you. Table hose, I can say that, right? Dating randomly, this, that, and the other, women draining your energy and resources. It is such a waste of your precious energy. Now, when you have a wife, what it does, of course, she's annoying, and I'm not saying that she's going to be perfect, and of course, she stresses you out, whatever it is. But that box is ticked. You're not on the streets. You're not worrying about who's texting you back, where you're going, this, that. And when you've got business meetings, you're not thinking, oh God, we're going to get a table. I need to get girls on this table. You know, like you don't have to have those worries and stresses. So what having one woman does is, firstly, it gives you that sense of stability, and it helps you financially because you've got one person rather than spreading it out thinly and spreading it in clubs and stuff like that, which a lot of single people do. The other thing it does is she maintains if you pick wisely, this is the key, if you pick wisely, she encourages you to focus on your mental and spiritual and physical health at the same time. If you pick wisely, vetting is everything. But when you pick a good woman, hopefully you set the boundaries correctly, which a lot of successful men don't. But if you do, what she'll do is when you're stressed, working, she'll be like, you've got that backache. Have you gone to the doctor yet? You know, she'll nag you, but she keeps you in check. Now, when you meet those really successful men that don't have that, what happens is they look after themselves aesthetically, but not internally. So they'll be in the gym all the time because they're always single and stuff, but internally they'll have a knee problem for 4 years, or, you know, they'll have a broken brain cell and that they haven't checked out on. And so there is so much to gain from marriage from a man, so much. And there's so much that you can lose as a man when you're just single, especially when you're making money. Single with money, dangerous.
I agree. What are some of the factors to consider in a partner to get married?
I would say the main factor in a marriage is it's not so much about your partner, it's about your boundaries. Yeah, I would say it's, instead of a partner, they need to be this, for that, and the other. It's more about when you're selecting a partner, you need to stay loyal and on your boundaries. What I mean by this is, if you have a partner and she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's so great, but she keeps breaking your boundaries, she keeps disrespecting you, she doesn't, listen to your advice, or she keeps, in contact with an ex, or there's something going on that's a deal breaker. Every time you forgive that deal breaker, it will come back magnified. Mm-hmm. So when you pick a partner, when you're watching out for the deal breakers and you're using those deal breakers as a signal that that she's not good for you, you will pick correctly. But if you ignore deal breakers and think she'll get better, I can change her, if I just throw a bit of money at her, she'll start behaving, you're guaranteeing the divorce.
What about from a female perspective? Because women often say, like, oh, I'll fix him, or I can fix the bad guy, or whatever. But why is there that attachment? Is that to do with childhood?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, what happens with people who have struggled with connections with their parents in their childhood, they either had to earn the love or didn't receive the love, or it was negative or hostile. They seem to think that having to earn or create love in a person and get them to finally love you is normal. They think you have to work at it. They think you have to beg them. They think you have to kind of get them and be patient. But really, people don't respect the person who accepts their unacceptable behavior. So if I'm unacceptable, if I'm disloyal to you and I'm swearing at you and I'm rude to you and you still want to be with me, I automatically don't love you anymore. And the reason for that is because you've shown me I can be my worst and you'll accept it. And I don't want to be my worst. We all want to be our best. I don't want to be hitting my husband and swearing at him. When he accepts that, there's a part of us that says, why are you taking this? As much as we might cry and beg you to take us back, we don't like it. Whereas when a man sets boundaries for us, as much as it's difficult, we know it's going to bring out the best in us. So when we accept the unacceptable, we remove the connection rather than create it.
How do you communicate that with your partner?
Every time, his boundaries are really nice and easy. Every time you feel uncomfortable with a behavior, you don't wait for it to then become a deal breaker. So, for example, I don't like my partner's coming home late a couple of times. I don't wait for it to be staying over, getting worse, then say something. Because what happens is I wait for it to get too far. The resentment's got too much and now it's hard to undo. I voice it in that moment. I listen to the part of my soul that's saying, I don't like this. And I say it to them calmly rather than bottling, then exploding. Because then the partner's like, what's wrong with you? So I say it calmly in the beginning, calmly. Let them know your boundaries. Now, if you've got a good partner, they'll be like, oh, sorry, shit, yeah, it's just a couple of days. I'll be home. Don't worry. Yeah. When you've got a partner that's like, I do what I want, it's a signal that they're not looking to compromise.
Friction.
You don't have to break up with them and you don't have to scream and shout and fight with them, but it is a signal that you can't ignore.
So I mentioned to you that I did like a lot of like rounds of therapy or whatever you would call it, like meetings, whatever you call it. And one thing that I always learned that was like so helpful was like, you never say like you. So like, you're wrong. Like, you came in fucking late. You did all this wrong. Instead it's like, I feel upset when this happens. So I still haven't said the word you.
Yeah.
So I say, so let's just talk about hypothetical scenario. So you said coming home late.
Yeah.
Like I feel like worried when I have to go to bed on my own. Like this. And then the other person's like, oh fuck, now I finally understand how you feel and I'll make the change.
Yeah.
And just by making those small changes, my relationship has like massively improved
amazing.
over the course of a year. Because I'm even like non-related to the relationship, just even like communicating how you actually feel about stuff.
Yeah.
So like instead of me being like, oh, that guy's a prick or that person like did me wrong or whatever, it's like I feel frustrated because this has not happened and now I have to make this like change or whatever.
Yeah. It's actually the best way to communicate a criticism, because behind every criticism is a need. Your partner has a need. And what's happened when they criticize you is that they don't feel safe to express that need, but they do feel comfortable saying a criticism. But how you change that and make it more productive is just 3 steps. You start with I feel. I feel. You start with a feeling. You state exactly what you're upset about, the actual event, and then you say what you need. So I, event, and then need. What I mean by this is, I feel upset when you come home late. Yeah? I need you to let me know when you're going to be late. Or what people who break up, they'll say things like, you're so selfish, you don't care about me, this is what you always do, I don't even want to talk to you. They do the opposite. Whereas if I say I, and you state your feeling, you stay on the specific event that upset you, and then you explain to them what you need from them, that leads to constructive communication for couples.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.